Let's turn this up. There we go. Good. So, welcome everyone. I thought I would do a little recording for you. Not quite live, in fact, definitely not live, because what I wanted to do was tell you a little bit about where everything started. Seeing as I can't do my job right now, obviously I tell my customers that I am unemployed, but that's not actually strictly true. We'll change camera, see what happens here. There we go. I don't think that is in focus. There we go. Oh, by the way, sorry about the hair. Get it cut tomorrow, so it's not too bad. What is it, 2 months now with this whole stuff and everything? Pretty crazy. But yes, although I tell my customers that I'm unemployed, it's not that I'm unemployed, it's the fact that I can't actually do my job. And people don't want to get married. Well, they do want to get married. It's just that we want to celebrate this day in a way in which we want to, with the freedom that we expect. So we don't want distancing, we don't want to be able to not hug each other and really relish in the moment of this, this wonderful day of two families coming together. So yeah, it's a bit nuts, really. So seeing as I can't do that, I thought I would show you about where everything started, and yeah, that's where we're going to go. I need to get one piece of equipment, and let me bring that bit to you. So yeah, let me get that for you. Yeah, let me just get this up here. There you go. I think you can see what it is now. Let's change settings. Oh, you can't see it. Okay, let me spin this around here. There you go. Now, for some of you, you probably don't quite know what this is. Yes, it says M1 here, and it also says Korg up at the top. You might have got a glimpse of Korg in the back. This is a legendary, and I mean legendary, synthesizer music workstation. And it came out, oh God, somewhere in the 80s, late 80s, I'm not really quite sure, 87, 88, and I really wanted this. This is what I used to compose music with, and the reason why I have not only this, but this also dates back to the other synthesizer which I have in my cellar, and that I'm going to just put this away now, because that's all that done now. Let me just pop that away there. Yeah, So when I was 11 years old, my parents bought me a synthesizer for my Christmas present, and the idea behind it was that if I was going to learn to do something, then I had to do it on my own, and I wasn't going to be able to use drum beats and all that sort of stuff, which was the big thing back in the sort of mid 80s. When it came to keyboards and synthesizers and things. So what they bought me was a Korg Poly 800. It had 8 key polyphony, unless you were using double voice mode, and then you only had 4. And from there, that's the things that I learned to play on. I didn't learn to read music or anything else like that, but I did learn to sort of use my ears and get things done. By the way, I apologize slightly for the audio. It would be nice if we had a nice, decent microphone or something like that, but for this time being, I really wanted to just get something done, and yeah, I hope you can live with the sound. So that's where it all started, and then in 1996, I got the Korg M1. Hold on, let's see if it's there in the background. Oh, wrong way. There you go. You can see it there in the background. Yeah, so we got that, and then came this in 1997. We got this. This is the Roland MC505. I think it would say that on the back. Yes, it does. So what do you have? You have obviously phone input. You also have mixes, various outputs there. You've got some direct out. You've even got a pedal. You've got MIDI in and out there. And this is an amalgamation of the 303, the 808, the 909. Put that all together with also some analog preset synth patches in there. I'm trying to remember exactly how many there were, but you could also make your own user-defined instruments in here as well. You've got pitch control here, you've got filter, you've got an LFO as well. You can even do the portamento, which is really great for making some really nice bass sounds. And talking about bass sounds, we've got here, you've got a low boost on here, and if that's not enough, they've even got an octave lower to get that really, really fat sound. I think what I need to do is at some point get all this MIDI'd up and done something, or do something with it and stuff. And oh yeah, and the other thing as well was this here as well, this optical controller, which is it's a sensor. So if you go from, let's just say here, if you got your hand over the top here, then it changes things like the resonance and stuff like that. So you can actually get it to, you can actually have it as a turntable effect. You can do the cutoff and resonance there, and you know, a couple of other things as well on that. So yeah, so I made a couple of songs, a few tracks on here in the late 90s and stuff, before I went off to become a car salesman. So my route took a completely different road away from music and into selling cars for 8 years. And then with our last financial crisis that we had, I lost my job doing that, and then I started working for an event company in Bielefeld, which is called Veranstaltungen, and I started working for them, and I was with them for about a year, I think. No, kind of been about a year, it must have been more like sort of 6 months, something like that. However, it was enough time for me to do some amazing stuff, like a massive wedding in the UK in, oh God, where were we? Like Dorset or Dorchester way. We were in, yeah, that sort of area. Wonderful, a really great experience. And we had 1,600 square meters of tentage, which we had put up, although it's not really tentage, it was a really bad example of what it was called. But I mean, anyway, so we done that. I think the wedding in total cost something like about 250,000 euros, something like that. Anyway, sadly, the financial crisis was still going on into the 2009, and unfortunately I had to leave the company. But I had learned various things about lighting and audio, as in like how to connect it all together, DMX and an XLR, you know, that sort of stuff. So that was quite good. So whilst I was still trying to find a job as a car salesman, in amongst all the other car salespeople that had lost their jobs, well, that wasn't going to work out. So I decided that I was going to become a self-employed DJ. And the reason by that, and I don't want to be too, you know, sort of like big-headed about all of it, was the reason behind that was that I had been to various events and heard the DJs play, and well, there came a point where I realized that maybe I could do a better job, and there's no easy way of saying that. So that's what I started to do, and I immediately got involved with, you know, the lighting and stuff like that. And I offered that alongside the DJ music that I would play as well. And from there, Woods Music has, over the years, from 2009 all the way now to 2020, has evolved now into Captured Pulse. And because, well, I do photography and or video imagery, photography, and I also do DJing as well. So where did that all start? Well, it started with this, and sadly this company doesn't exist anymore, Vestax. And one of the reasons why it doesn't exist anymore is because this thing is made of metal. It is really well put together. I mean, these rotary knobs here came off one of their high-end mixer units that they done anyway. This was literally a really nice small MIDI controller that you would use with Tractor, and yeah, these bits are plastic, but everything else is metal, and it is a really, cracking piece of equipment. But sadly, yeah, probably quite expensive to make. And the problem with that was, well, naturally, other lesser brands, entry-level brands, could produce that for half the price. In fact, less than half the price. So that was the reason why, I think, as part of it, why they went to the wall, sadly. Anyway, so after that came something else, but I can't show you it because I sold them. I bought some Denon CD players, and you could also connect those up to Tractor, so I would control Tractor through the CD players, but also had the possibility of doing CD as well at the same time. But I sold them, and so they aren't here, which brings me on to the next thing that I done, which was this Allen and Heath Zone 1D, and I have two of these. There's another one up on the shelf here, and the reason why I got these is because I'm a bit of a Richie Hawtin fan, and the thing with Richie Hawtin is he is well renowned for using Allen and Heath equipment. Let me just change camera module here, and he had a Zone 4D, and the thing with the Zone 4D was it's two of these with a Zone 92 in the middle, and I'm not sure whether I should get the Zone 92 out. I don't know, is it really worthwhile getting the Zone 92 out? It is my baby. I've had it since the very beginning, and I will never sell it ever. I don't think so anyway. So I spent 4 days programming this, and I remember now that these down at the bottom, these were my decks, and play and Q, I'm pretty sure that that's what they were. So I had A and B, deck A and C, and then on the other one was B and D, and this was basically play and Q. And then I could use this to, you know, find the right place or nudge it and do those sort of things. Then these were my loops and cue points, and these were the level faders, and but they were also the pitch control on the decks as well. And then on top of here, we got up here, and these were the effects, like, you know, echo effect, reverb, and like various other things. So that's what that was. And I used that up until about 2013, something like that. I think it was like 2013, 2000, maybe in that. I think 2000 up to 2013. So we were there. However, that wouldn't work on its own. I don't know whether you noticed, but on the back, you've only got like MIDI, and then of course you've also got the USB going into the computer. So there's no sound card on those, which meant that I had this. So this is the Native Instruments Audio 8. And yes, I have all the cables for it. I have the timecode vinyl for this as well. And I was hoping that I was about to use this for what I'm doing now with recording and everything. However, I can't use it. And the reason why I can't use it is because I now have Catalina, or OS X 10.15, 10.15, whatever it is. And I'm trying to remember up until what point this works now. And that is actually a very good point, because I think this goes up to 10.14. However, if you've got a Windows system, I think it'll work. Something different. So yeah. So if you want this, and all the cables and the vinyl, let me know. You can have it, because I don't want to throw it away, but I can't use it. So yeah, if you want to have it, speak with me, and I'll find a way of getting it to you. So that led me up to 2000 and where were we again? 2013, somewhere around that. I think I was still using it when I moved into this system, which, hold on a second, let me see where I am here. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff with me. I hope the audio's okay. So where are we? Here we go. So let's do this one here. Okay, so this is the Traktor Control Z1. this is now my backup. So if everything else fails and everything, then I can quickly get the computer out and get this going. So if my mixer was to break or something like that, that's exactly where we're going to be on that. And it's only 2-channel, but of course you go into Traktor, it comes out. Yes, there's. Let me go here. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so you've just got basic RCA out, or Chinch. I think that is what it's called in German. I believe so. And yeah, so you have that. But as I said, that was just backup. And what I got was two of these. Two of these here. And this is the Control X1. And the X1, in fact, I believe this is actually the X1 Mark II. I think so. Yeah, it is. It says on the back. So here you could do all your effects here, and of course that's the intensity and all that sort of stuff. Then you would browse through Traktor with this. You can select whether you're going to deck A or to deck B, and of course with two of those, then you're on to however you want to do it with deck A, C, or B, D, or whatever you want to do. Here we had cue points as well. We had also. You had cue and play, and here is what you use here to nudge through the track, and there's also other things as well that you could do, which was nudge the pitch control up and down, so for beat mixing and things like that. And I used that all the way up until 2015. I believe. Yes, I think it was 2015. And then something disastrous happened. And what happened was I was in the middle of an event. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it might have actually been a benefit gig that I was doing. Might have actually been for Zonta in Bielefeld. I believe so. However, what happened was the computer crashed and froze up, and that's the first time that an Apple computer had ever frozen up on me in ever. I bought my first Apple computer in 2007. Yeah, exactly. So we went all the way through 2007, all the way up to 2015 without ever having a crash whatsoever. And then it crashed on that night. And that was the point where I said, okay, I can't trust working with a computer anymore. It's not gonna work. So I went out and I went and bought the Pioneer XTJ 1000s, and I suppose now this is something that I need to see whether this is going to work. Let's see whether this is going to work. You go to see whether this is going to work here. Oh, something's working. Okay, let's see. There we go. Good-o. Cool. Right. Let me take this off and let me see whether this is going to work. Oh God. Let's hope. So, oh yeah. I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the XTJ 1000. And the really cool thing about the XT1000 is that it is touchscreen. So you can, you can do sort of 4-bar loops. You can do that, 2-bar loops. So that, exit out of there. So yeah, you can do all of that sort of stuff. That's one thing you can do. It does have vinyl mode, so it does have that as well. And of course you also have slip mode as well. And the thing about slip mode is, of course, that the track continues to play behind what you're doing with slip mode. So there's those sort of things as well, and of course then you can change things on there as well. So, but the other thing as well is, of course, is browsing. So for weddings and things like that, that's absolutely fantastic. So you can doesn't really matter what we're gonna put in here, but you can see through here. We have all of that as well. So if you're trying to find something, or you're trying to find a particularly like you're trying to find a song, so then you can actually find it. So that's quite handy, and you can find it quickly. That's the other good thing about it as well. So, and it'll also tell you if it's not there as well. Let's just say, oh god, can't even spell. So say you're trying to find something to do with flowers, then you've got it all there. Anyway, so that's that. The thing about the XDJ 1000s is it has no CD player. So it is literally, hold on a second, let me go back to here. It really is literally a MIDI controller. That's the thing with it. And the problem that I had in 2015 was Pioneer were basically the only company that I could trust that had this type of technology with a touchscreen display to be able to control my music. Because if you date back to the other XDJs, where it's basically it's a bit like the tractor here, this control thing here. It's a bit like this, where you're having to go through and like find it alphabetically, which is really time consuming and really not fantastic for spur of the moment type of finding tracks and things like that. So this enables me to literally use a keyboard and go through and tap. It has its drawbacks, but it is slightly minimal, as in trying to find a track. Like sometimes you always have to keep pressing the backspace instead of being able to hold it, and it backspaces on its own, like the newer versions. But that's by the by. However, I got those. I got 3 of them, so I actually used 3 whilst I'm at weddings. And the reason why I use 3 is not to say, look what I have. That's not the reason behind it. The reason behind it is because when you're doing A, B, and then someone comes along and asks for a song, or you are doing the warm-up set and you want to have the opening dance already pre-cued and all that sort of things, then it's less stress. It's generally less stress to deal with that. And then of course once you get into the house sets and you want to like mash things up a little bit, then having 3 decks enables you to do that, because you've got one still playing and then you've got the other one, you bring that one in. Of course you're using the 3rd deck then to bring the next track in, which you can then keep everything moving quite well. Oh yeah, guitar, yes. Apparently I know a few chords on the guitar, nothing spectacular. but it's mainly to do with the fact that my dad plays the guitar, plays the guitar, and his father also played the guitar. And the thing about my grandfather is, I don't know whether he did stand in or was supposed to. I think he did stand in for Les Paul one time. And the other thing as well is, I believe he also played the guitar for the London Philharmonic Orchestra, so he wasn't too shabby on the guitar as my grandfather. So yeah, if I could play that half as good as, or even a quarter as good as what my grandfather could play it, then that would be amazing, amazing. Yeah, so that just quickly, yeah, sort of rounds up where I started at, as in with music, and then sort of going off on a little road, and then coming back to music again, which I just love that whole thing. When I was, yeah, I remember sort of hitting 30 and thinking, that's it, I'm never going to be able to do anything to do with music again. And then lo and behold, 35, and I'm a DJ. Whereas I've never done sort of that before. So yes, I do various things, and yes, music is a big part of my life, always has been a big part of my life. And since 2012, obviously, photography has also been a, pretty big part of my life too, and also ways in which I earn money. And so if you want to have a quick look, I suppose I can do a quick rundown on that. Let's see whether that's going to work. Oh, it's still live, so that's good. Right, so here, let's cut that off. Let's click on here. There you go. So that's a quick one. Excuse all of that. That's it. So it was me testing, and then didn't really think I was going to, show that. So that's the Nikon D750, and that is a 35 to 70. It's an AFS lens on there, which is something that I don't actually use. Not sort of, should we say, in a professional manner. So I don't actually use that, and I've actually got it set to manual. And the reason why I've got it set to manual is because DSLRs are really crap at autofocus. So we've done that. So the next thing is that one, and that is the Fujifilm X-T2, and I think the autofocus on that is pretty cool. And of course, the X-T3 is better. The X-T4 is probably going to be even more better. It's very snappy when you look at the focus on it. I don't know, whoa, if this is going to happen. There you go. It does sort of look and then snaps, which I don't know. I suppose that could be smoother. It would be nice if there was a way to, sort of smooth that out. But as far as but as far as focus is concerned, it's quite cool. Maybe you need to do that, and then it'll like track it down into you, and then it's like there. So so I've got those, and of course the other, I suppose, like really cool bit is having this going into the computer to be able to do that. So anyway, PX5. Why have I got a PX5? I suppose because I went off on one, didn't I? The PX5, I have this because I was doing a gig in, where was I doing a gig? In Bad Duffler, and I think it was might not have been actually the Lipischorhof, but somewhere around there. And I was really annoyed because I'd said to them multiple times, can you please put some perspex or something like that on the bar, because one day somebody is going to knock something off. And that's exactly what they've done. They knocked a full glass of Coca-Cola and something all over my Zone 92. And come and sit back down again here actually, the Zone 92, and initially I turned everything off, but then I thought, well, hold on a second, because the circuit boards go vertically on the Zone 92, it meant to say that the Coke sort of like dripped through and didn't actually get stuck on there. So I like turned it back on again and thought, yeah, if I do this, it'll dry it out, which is exactly what happened. However, we all know how corrosive Coca-Cola is. And it's actually since that point, I'm pretty sure I might have had like maybe 1 or 2 glasses of Coca-Cola since this time, because after seeing how it completely chewed through my circuit boards in about 2 days, I often think, well, I wonder what it does to your stomach. So that was in December, and of course you've got all the Christmas parties coming, so I had to order something, and so yeah, I ordered the PX5, and the cool thing about the PX5 is it's analog, just like the Zone 92, but it also has digital effects. So, for example, here you can go through here. So, loads and loads of delays. By the way, the effects, the digital effects, actually comes off of their iLive, Alan and Eve's iLive system. So this is like a baby iLive system in here. It would be really nice if they added a compressor. That would be really good if we had that. However, anyway, so you can see there gate, flanger, reverb, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, let me turn that down, because that's probably been way too loud over the whole lot of everything. And yes, let's do this then, just quickly. Those are American DJ UB12s. That's that one. I maybe can show you from, hold on, from there. There you go. That's one down there. And I've had those now since 2017, something like that. And the reason why I use those now is because I've been using, you know, the whole tower that's been, you know, that's lit up from the bottom or from the top all the way there. You get those towers that most sort of DJs are using these days. Well, I've been using those since 2013 as well, and I'm sort of pretty much like bored of them now. So I use those, which are like super slick, and you can do some really nice effects. Because one thing I really hate is that, you know, the 4 lights that like blinky, blinky, blinky on the thing. I absolutely hate them. I really, really hate them, and I don't understand why. Yeah. It's unlike top DJs, you know, in Germany, and they use them, and I think to myself, why? Why? I mean, basically, you know, those things are exactly the same thing. The wedding couples today, that's what their parents had. Okay, it's LED version, but it's still exactly the same thing. Bling, 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 bling. Anyway, so that's that. Right, so I use those and all sorts of things. So I would say that, yeah, that's it. Yeah, a quick as quick as I could anyway, a quick rundown of sort of where I started with my interest in music. 11 years old, getting interested in electronic music through synthesizers and stuff like that, which progressed a little bit further, and then how I sort of went away from it, then came back into it again. The other thing as well is, yes, I do compositions, which I do on, which is done through plugins and synthetic orchestral stuff. So I do that as well. I've done a few jobs for videographers or wedding filmmakers. I've done a few audio jobs for them. Some pieces just as simple as, you know, little tiny, you know, mixing tweaks here and there, to just adding a little bit more of a beat or like a drum sound, adding that, or, you know, just a small amount of piano or something like that, all the way through to a complete score, which that's where I suppose is really the main fun that I have. So yeah, so that's that. I hope it's not been too long for you. I've really tried to get it down to 30 minutes. However, okay, we're at 41. And yeah, the last piece that I just wanted to mention to you is the reason why I'm doing this is not just to tell you about where I come from and where I'm, you know, and where I am now. It was also part of a sort of a small test to see like how I can get this up and running for, should we say, for somewhere between half an hour and an hour, because I have contemplated, you know, doing a mix, you know, on these here for you. But I've seen mixes done by DJs, and being a DJ yourself and you're listening to DJ mixes, I don't know. It's to be quite rude, like a porn star doesn't go home and then start looking at porn. You know, it's a bit like that. However, yeah, I've thought about it, but I thought doing this might have been a little bit more interesting than just, you know, watching me stand behind a mixer and just playing some house tracks or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's not that I wouldn't do that. I mean, if I was to do it, then what would be really cool is me having some sort of theme, or maybe you would like to, you know, interact with me. Meaning, maybe you would like to give me a bit more of an idea of where, you know, where to go. So I actually done a DJ set for you as opposed to just a DJ set for me, and say, oh, you know, oh, this is what I'm doing, and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's the first thing. And the last thing is where I suppose what I think would be a little bit more exciting, or a little bit more interesting, should we say, would be to maybe do something like this in a little bit more of a a bit more of a focused environment. As I said to you, I do have lots of interests, and I think that whilst I'm in this position of not being able to go anywhere, do anything, that we do have a capacity to still actually speak with one another, interact with another in a very, very small group, as long as we keep ourselves at a distance. It does mean to say that maybe I could, in the next couple of months and things like that, maybe that I can bring something a little extra to this channel, or maybe your way of, that would be a little bit more, I think maybe a little bit more interesting than just seeing somebody playing music. So this was also like sort of part of a test to see whether does this work, can it work, and yeah. Anyway, 45 minutes, all done, dusted. If you have lasted this long, thank you ever so much for watching, and yeah. And I wonder how many photographers, if you do actually watch this, I wonder how many of you photographers will tell me I should buy a Sony. But the reason why I don't have a Sony is literally the same reason why I have Alan Neath and not a Pioneer mixer, which I can go on in a later time. As I said, thank you ever so much for spending the time and watching this. And I suppose the best thing to say now is really, we will see you on the next episode. Take care, and see you later.